Next up, we have the interface's main menu. So across the top of the interface, if you recall. So I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit on the layout. Hit the T key on my keyboard. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to single click and then I'm going to type in the first menu item. Now, I'm going to use all caps for this. So I'm just going to throw on my caps lock if it will play nice. There we go. And I'm going to type out the word home. There we go. Now, it's up to you, whatever font you want to use at this point. Go nuts, right? But as a matter of fact, I'm going to stick with my default font, the Myriad Pro there. And maybe I'll make it bold just to spice it up. There we go. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to use, remember we set our colors earlier, right? So I want to set this guy to the mid blue. So I'm just going to pop into the swatches panel for a moment here. Actually, you know what? Correction on that. First of all, make sure that your fill color is on top there, down at the bottom of the toolbox there. I was still on the stroke from the previous exercise. And then into the swatches panel there. And then go ahead and grab your mid blue. Or, of course, you can use whatever color you wish, right? But I'm going to go with the mid blue. Now, there's a bunch of menu items that we have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this guy out a whole bunch of times and then just change the text for each menu item. So bear with me for a moment here. I'm going to hold down, I'm back on the black arrow tool, by the way. I'm holding down Alt here, or Option on the Mac. And just click and drag, and that will create a copy for you of the selected object. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Option or Alt a second time and drag out. And just give me a moment here. We need, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in total. So there's 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut here to help me out. Try using Command D or Control D. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be enough. Now, the Command D or the Control D, what that does is that duplicates your object. It duplicates the last transformation that you made, right? Which is really handy for something like this. Okay, now let's go and change each of these guys. So I'm going to grab it would be the first copy of home, and I'll double click on that guy to open him up there. I'm back on the text tool now. I'll select all, Command A or Control A, and then type in the next menu label or button label. Now this is going to be applications. Great. Hold down Command or Control and just click away inside some white space to get out of that guy. Move on to the next one. Double click in there. Actually, double clicking will select the text there for you too. Save you that Command A or Control A step there. Next up is seminars. There we go. Again, Control or Command click away. Double click inside the third guy now. We have rates. Same story, just keep repeating this over and over and over again. Tools, we have blog, and the last one is contact us. There we go, perfect. Now, what I want to do is I want to arrange all these guys right across the top of the interface, something like this, right? And I might have to go and adjust my font size. I don't think I'm going to have enough room for all of these guys. So I'm just going to jam them all in here and wind up adjusting my font size here. I'm just going to grab them all here, all in one shot. And just using the options bar right across the top here, instead of 12, let's drop that down, maybe drop it down to about 10 point, something like that. Depending on the font that you're using, you might have to fiddle with that just a little bit. Now, in terms of spacing them apart and getting them all nice and aligned, I mean, you could fiddle for hours here, right? But I'm going to show you a very cool trick here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to position the first menu item, or the first button there. I've lined them up against that first vertical guide there on the left, right? So I've positioned the first object, and I've also positioned the last object, contact us, right? And I'm leaving a little bit of breathing room between the last item and the logo there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, all of those buttons that we just created, or soon-to-be menu items. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into the Align panel, switch Align to Align to Selection. There we go. And then let's line up the bottoms, vertical align bottoms. Boom, there we go. And then we want to equally space them apart, right? We want the spacing between each of these objects to be the same, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this distribute spacing, this option right here, horizontal distribute space. There we go. Now, if you don't see these options here, you might have to go to the Align Panel menu and choose Show Options, and your distribute spacing buttons will show up there. So 2 clicks gets me set up exactly the way I want, right? Okay, great. Now, the last thing that I want to do is I want to line up the bottom edges of my soon-to-be buttons here with the bottom edge of the text inside the logo here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here, and I'm going to go and drop down another guide. So bear with me here. I'm going to hit Command R or Control R, and I'm just going to grab a horizontal guide this time from the horizontal ruler and just drop that guide right in there, something like that. Again, it doesn't have to be insanely precise or anything like that, but something like this is what we want. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my rulers off first of all there, Command R or Control R. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my items there all together, and I'm just going to tap my down arrow key until they're all nice and lined up, something like that. Okay, great. Let's have a look at our layout. Let's just zoom out here. If you want to temporarily turn off your guides, try hitting Command semicolon or Control semicolon, and there we go. We're looking good. We're starting to get some actual content into our layout, and the layout is starting to come together here. So don't forget to save your file as we're going along here, and let's continue on with building our Flash interface here inside Illustrator.